Hi. My guest today is Alison Young, who is, and let me get this right.
A bit of a mouthful there.
It is a mouthful here. She is an expert in body mechanics. She is the creator of Tapping to Connect, and she combines EFT with that and also very much into alignment and physical work. Am I right there, Alison?
Yes, it's nothing works in unison. It all works in synergy. So the emotional and the physical, bringing that together, was just that missing piece of information.
Yeah, I mean, I always look the human body, it's mind, body, and spirit, isn't it? It's everything, and you're coming in very beautifully with that. Alison also attended our retreat in Spain last year, and whenever I do anything, I do like to get feedback from people, and Alison has very kindly agreed to give us feedback from that. But before we get there, Alison, when you went to the retreat, what were you doing in your business career? Mhm.
So it was primarily running a busy clinic. So it was a lot of involvement around the massage, manipulation, also bringing in EFT, Reiki. So it was a whole combination, but it was very much physical.
Mhm.
It was me being present all of the time within the clinic and almost, well, one of my beliefs was that you live to work. So no wonder that was my belief that was running it. So it was mobile and clinic work, but as you can imagine, as yeah, a great deal of physical energy that was spent.
And you were quite happy with that as well, weren't you? Because, like you say, live to work. You're like, oh yeah, I've crammed in. Well, I'm using my own language when I say that. Crammed in this and I'm working this extreme amount of hours. I'm using my own words. Extreme amount of hours. You went using the word extreme. It's almost you give me that total impression you're working almost every hour under the sun.
It just, do you know, Ty, it's so true because when you're doing that, it was so normal for many years. It to me, people go, "How do you fit all that in a day?" And I'm like, "Well, that's just normal. Well, you should be doing a 12-hour day non-stop. You should be cramming it. It's just, it didn't even. Actually, I thought, well, surely I should cram in more. Maybe I'll get up in the middle of the night and fit this in. It's just, yeah. When I look back from where I am now to then. Oh, well, I can't wait to share a bit more with you.
I don't think I have the patience. I need to know now. Alison.
You want to know now? I
Do.
think, I mean, when I look at how a belief kept me stuck for so long in this continual, perpetual pattern that I didn't even consciously realize that if I'm not physically doing something, then I'm not doing something. I must be doing something all the time. So when I came to the retreat, for one, enabling myself, putting myself forward to go on a self-discovery retreat, there was part of me that was a little bit nervous. It's like, oh, I've got to stop. How would that look? Apart from when I went on holiday, I'd give myself permission, but then even saying that, it would be, oh, that person needs a hand, or that it's just my nature to do that. But taking that time to step back and I would never have known about, I believe everything happens for a reason. And when I did the advanced level 3, and then Stefan and yourself mentioned about this retreat, it was like it was meant to be, it was presented.
Mm.
And then to take that time to go, right, I'm going to book this because it involves money, Tanya, and you can't spend money because I'm not worth it. I've got bills to pay, I've got this to pay. So to actually invest that time, and I can't believe that that was about 7 months ago now. I mean, when I think of what's happened in the last 7 months, it's unbelievable.
Mm. Yeah. Well, I mean, you've obviously just pointed out a couple of limiting beliefs there.
Yes, very limited.
Yeah, the one about the money and being worth it kind of belief, that's the one that would cause you not to invest in you. I'd also say that sometimes it's really great to take a person out of their environment, yeah, their normal environment, so you create that space for change. But with all of that being said, what's changed?
Oh, well, the when you said about stepping out, I didn't realize how fundamentally important that is to actually take that time
Mm,
just for you. So a lot of people and myself would have a holiday once or twice a year, and it's lovely and it's great, and you might go with family or friends, but what you don't do is you don't have the time to step back and
mm,
focus on you.
mm,
So when I went to the retreat, to actually have that time, I haven't got to be mum, wife, daughter, professional. It's completely me.
mm,
And I believe that if I didn't have that time, that I wouldn't have uncovered the beliefs, but also had the courage to move forward
mm.
because I knew inside what I wanted to create, but I didn't have the time. I didn't, and that's the difference now is I'm actually creating time. Time, Alison, you're making time today to do this. I actually went for a walk this morning with my dog.
Mm.
I wouldn't do that. It would be a Monday. I've got to work. I've got to put in a 9 till 10, 10 till 11, 11 till 12, have a half-hour break. Or do you deserve a lunch? A 1 till 2, 2 till 3, 3 to, it would be this.
Crazy going round like in a hamster wheel, isn't it, really? Because I remember because I'm not you, and I'm able to kind of step back and view that. And I suppose I've always been taught, try that on. It comes from my NLP training. Try it on and see what happens when you try that on. I think I sometimes automatically try it on and go, oh no.
Oh, no, you don't. And actually, the suit that I want to try, so the pre-retreat suit
Yeah.
compared to the post-retreat suit, because the changes happen quite quickly. So I didn't expect that when I went to the retreat, that I would thought I'd come back and go back to my normal life. That was the seed of change that coming from having that amount of time away. It wasn't just a couple of days, it was, a really good period of time so that I could then come back. And when I went back into the life of what I had, it was like I went initially into, oh no, I don't want to go back to that. So I could then start to make those changes.
I want,
And do you remember, Tanya, I said that even I didn't have time to cook, or I didn't have to look after myself in the way that I was doing. So to come back and think, I want to try a different thing. Actually, I don't want to be working 24/7.
mm.
That's not who I am choosing to be.
No, you got an opportunity to look at what do I really want? Yeah. And it's the whole picture, isn't it? To me, it's the whole picture. I do eat quite healthy most of the time. Yeah. And I'm not a big one on taking ages over preparing. However, you don't have to. But so are you now taking time out to eat properly there, Alison, to do that side of things?
Now, this is embarrassing, and I'm going to say because I've tapped on it and I've cleared it so I can share it. I would eat standing up.
Hmm.
Um, Eat unconsciously, not it was just a process. Don't get me wrong, when I went out for meals, if we went out, it was lovely and I'd enjoy that. But actually, even the cooking and preparing, it's not that I haven't got the knowledge to do that, but it's time.
Mm.
If I wasn't physically doing, I didn't have time, that could be helping someone else or another client because that, and there was another, actually, it's just come to mind. What I realized that the part of me that's uncovered in the retreat was that I didn't want to stop because if I stopped, I would have to think. And if I had to think, I might really have to look at some of those deeper beliefs rather than brushing over the top of it. I'm okay, I'm fine. So
Mm.
that was the transformation as well during that retreat, as well as meeting like-minded connections, which to me was so important.
Yeah. And what I would go is sometimes when we go, keep going, 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 it is a case of what would happen if you stopped. Yeah. And I know we did quite a bit of work on what would happen if you stop and dealing with the underlying stuff that, because if suddenly we stop going, 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 what happens? What comes up? And it is about clearing that, isn't it, really? So I know we did some work on that.
That was what was lovely, that it was a very relaxed environment, and there were some very deep
Mm,
topics that we, each of us who were there, brought up, but to actually feel welcomed, there was not one point where I didn't feel comfortable to share that or
mm,
to choose there was someone there that I connected to, because you're coming in on a deeper level, but also one that we're there for self-discovery,
mm,
or but also whilst having fun, having that connection. So the balance of, okay, we're going to do some deeper work in the morning or have some exploration work, but doing it in such a gentle way. And I loved when you did the mindful based inner repatterning, and I've used that with my clients, but also for myself, because that's why I go like this to go
yeah.
and focus. Because that wasn't who I mean, even listening to my voice time, I'm thinking, who's that? Before it'll be, hello, my name's Alison and I've got this. It's even that.
Which is an interesting observation. What I would say is when you change, yeah, so it change the emotional things, you'll notice many different things about you. I'm sure, when I first came into therapy, I always have sensed that my voice was probably slightly higher. Yeah. And as you do the therapy, of course, you breathe differently.
You,
And the
yeah,
voice,
you feel that
yeah,
grounding.
and speed of voice. If you're anxious or there's a little bit of that fight or flight going on, you can speak much more quickly. I've certainly had clients who spoke so fast, you think to yourself, oh, something's going on there. So it changes. And these are all natural changes that just reconfirm to you that you are feeling different. And so, with that being said, you've noticed those changes, yeah?
And
Mhm.
I feel that within myself, and actually on the retreat, what was lovely is that there was honest feedback, but
Mm,
delivered in a gentle way, but also feedback that if it wasn't delivered in a gentle way and it brought up a trigger, that it was there to be addressed. But you knew that you're in a safe environment.
mm,
If you wanted to go and have some time to retreat, and it was lovely. I mean, I absolutely fell in love with the village. I
mm,
love the pace of life. I mean, my head was already going, right, I'd like to move here. I'm going to do that. And then it was just that space, the location was lovely. And then, when we had I loved it when in the evening we could then have that connection around the table. Because remember, for me, I never used to sit down to eat.
Oh, I didn't realize, you say that, and I hadn't really thought that piece through, but it was really nice to have that kind of communal meal, you know. And I mean, the fact that we brought some caterers in to deliver it as well.
We need to have a little bit to make it easier. Otherwise, we wouldn't, if someone was cooking, no, and it was beautiful. I mean, that was the other thing, the food for me, the nutrition. If you imagine, I wouldn't be getting in sometimes till 9 o'clock at night. So I wouldn't eat until 9:30. So by the time, my husband's had something to eat, I might do a little bit of batch cooking, but sometimes it was all, again, eating. And that had changed through this job and doing the longer hours. So when my girls were younger, yeah, we'd sit down and have a meal, and it was almost like that whole part of me that forgot, wow, you can actually sit down, giving myself permission.
Yeah, and not only just sitting down, there was a lot of banter going on, and a
Oh,
lot,
we did.
a
We
lot
did. There was
of
some. There was some time. There's a couple of things that stick in my mind, and it was hilarious when Stefan and my brain's his neighbour, the relationship.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I know, I
And
know.
it was just lovely to hear that kind of they're looking after one another and having that band and just it's that sense of camaraderie. And I feel that you make those lifelong connections or those connections that if you needed to, I know that if I wanted to reach out to anybody on that group,
Mhm.
that I'd feel happy to do so. I've already had connections with quite a few of the people, even if it's just to say, I'm here if you want to have a chat. So it's really important from the networking, which again, I was so busy networking. Who's got time to network? You've got to be out there working. You can't do that. Oh, it's just, yeah, totally.
Connection is important. And what I would say, because me and Stefan run these things together, but he's absolutely brilliant at that kind of networking and connection stuff, isn't he? He's a
Oh,
total people person and so obliging. So, now after that retreat, he's now gone and got himself qualified as a sound therapist as well.
I mean, that's amazing. You think it's that if the more that you can do to support people, and I think that's what there was that general
Mm.
connection between us all. So that was lovely.
Very beautiful. And wow, I mean, I got to see in a way many parts of you, but I think you've blended them all now, haven't you?
No, it's that, and that's what's great from so coming out of the retreat and then coming back to life. And as I would say to most people, when you come out of a space where you've had that time, not to worry if at first you feel unsettled, like, oh, I don't know, there's a lot of things to, because you'll have met connections on the group that you can reach out and ask for support. Because whenever we go through a growth change, which is what it was, fundamentally, I feel that I've grown into every part of me is now together, like we were saying beforehand. And for me, this is a big personal, I can't think of the word, but achievement is that I used to use Alison. Alison feels this, and now I can say that I
Yeah.
love me. I feel connected. I am enough. And whatever, when you come out of there, initially, you do feel a little bit like, right, I've got all of these things going on, but to know you've got that support. And, within 7 months, what I feel I have achieved now, because I've still got my book, Tanya, so I create, when I started, I literally made notes so that I could look at the blocks. And one of the blocks was starting to actually feel confident in establishing myself and putting myself out there.
Mhm.
And from there, went straight back. I'm going to do this new website.
And you sent me a link the other day to your website, and I must say I was very impressed indeed, because there was something very heart-centered on it. You literally you can see you put your heart and soul into that in such a beautiful way. And I read through one of your blogs and I thought, wow, that's powerful, isn't it? And I think it was one you said about jazz hands, and there's a beautiful picture, and I think because Stefan is a professional photographer,
Yeah.
isn't he? You know, there are many skills within the EFT profession. He is a really brilliant photographer. I mean, he's taken pictures of people like Alison Moyer. Years ago, he used to be involved in the band scene, I think, in London, if I get this
Mm.
correct. But there he is taking these nice pictures. So, yeah.
No, actually, I should say to him, do I owe you any money for that? Because, those lovely pictures. And they captured, and that's like I've used, funnily enough, there's one where when we went to that lovely, lovely lake, it was
Mm,
beautiful. And I was sitting out there looking, and that captured everything, the essence of, I think there was about day 7 that we went there, and it was just, I love that picture. And then Stefan took that one while I was walking on the wall and he said, no, just do that. And it was like, yeah, stepping into your new self,
Mm.
stepping into freedom, stepping into who you want to be, who you choose to be. So that was, those pictures mean so much. And that, again, who would have thought that that would have come out of a retreat? It's just, yeah.
He's a master at that kind of stuff. He's got that visual eye. I mean, but yeah, he does take the most beautiful pictures. And that day down at the lake was very beautiful, wasn't it?
It was just magic. I mean, for me to go, a couple of the ladies went, right, we're going to go for a swim. And I just went, I'm going to do it as well. Just to go out there. And when I was swimming and looking back, you get those times where there are no words, that
Mm.
sense of awe and feeling of this is who I choose to be. It was just powerful. And it was lovely to look back and see everyone there just relaxing. You sunbathing there a little bit because we did have some nice weather as well, which was
Yeah, yeah, no, that was a beautiful day, and I must think it does stick in my mind.
lovely.
So, with all of that being said, because we have some great type of experiences on that, we did some very deep transformational work. Where are you now, Alison? Because if I go back and surmise, at the beginning, when you came on the retreat, you were working all the hours under the sun. You were quite happy with that because it was your normal. Yeah. And you didn't really have that time to even sit down and eat your meals. You're kind of going on the go, on the go, on the go. And but you had business ideas, yeah. Because I will just go over this bit. I'm fascinated by business, of course, because I've run my own business since I've been 22. And if you are running your own business, you have to, in a way, develop an interest in that area if you want to be successful. You can't step away and hold it. It does fascinate me because but it's also about life itself. I think build your business as you wish to have your business that accommodates a bigger picture of life. That's very important to me. Because I do have children, even though they're now in their 30s, but gotta have that time for my girls. And my husband as well, and the bigger family, because I've got a very big family. So coming back, I have a fascination. We had some discussions as well about business, this idea you had. And and you did have a really lovely idea, and you've kind of learned a lot of skills. So go a little bit on that. What was stopping you from launching that really fabulous bit type of business? I mean, you probably had kind of launched, but not in the way you wanted. Mhm.
Oh, definitely, because when I went into the retreat, I had these ideas, but how could me, do this? Everyone else can do it and they're successful. But the block I had was that fundamental one that I know a lot of us have is that I'm not good enough. What if other people don't like it? What if I'm not successful? So actually, no, I won't bother. That was how I was feeling. I'll just do it in little bits because if I launch it and nobody likes it, well, then I'll prove to myself that, and to step forward, I think when we had that chat, and that what was great, it wasn't just about the personal journey, it was about where we want to be. Where
Mm,
do we see ourselves? So looking at the idea of being a body mechanics therapist. And then when I discovered EFT and Reiki, but EFT in particular really supported me for a difficult time. And when I started to understand that connection
mm,
between the physical and the emotional, that nothing works, as I've said, in unison, the idea I had was how great would it be if you have someone that comes in with neck pain and I'm working on the posture, the exercise, the massage, but they've got this emotion that they
mm,
might be carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders. Where did it start? Where did it come from? So I had this idea of what if you combined it? What if you combined it into a tap into connect process that looked at it as a whole? So if you've got pain, you can go, I've got the exercise, the physical, the manipulation, and the emotional. So even though I had that, there was a lot of limiting beliefs around, And also, it felt so daunting, like where to start. And you really helped. Do you remember when you were saying about, you can make things easier for yourself by using what's already out there, some of the tools that can support us.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
then from going from that idea, what you did is you gave me ideas of where to start. And that's what I didn't have,
Mm.
as well as going, what what if I did? What if I could?
Mm. Yeah. Oh, we did look at some of the blocking thoughts. There was what I'm not going to go into what they were, but there was a little bit of fear, and often there's the fear around. Well, oh, I don't know how others will respond. There was that little fear, and then we just talked. Not only did we work and clear that anyway, but we also talked about that how you would clarify, because once you're doing a business, sometimes you want to check certain things out,
Yeah,
from a legal perspective or whatever.
absolutely.
And then you just feel so much more clear going forward. You've all right, maybe that fears that there's something to it, so let me check it out and let's know the situation. So I always look at the logical steps of this, how you would do it, but equally it's about when we feel overwhelmed because we're seeing everything in one and the same go. Yeah. And we need to get down into then come in, what's the first step and what would I do from there? And I have quite a lot of knowledge about technology
Oh,
and
that really helped. I was like, I dabbled, but didn't know how I could use technology to support me. Now,
uh,
when I think about what I've just created, it's like I have learned so much about how to kind of get support. I mean, there's lots of things out there as well. You've got the Chat GPT, you've got the Canva, you have so many resources that can support you so that if you're not for example, an illustrator, then I can have that support. But even things like Simplified, there was Grammarly, there was a few others, because that's the other belief that I had is that I can't, this sounds crazy, but one of them was that my writing doesn't read very well. Well, utilize something to support you and help you to share your voice.
absolutely, absolutely. And that kind of thing, my writing doesn't read well. Just aside, I often think, where's that come from? If you're in school and you're in a bit of fight or flight, you're not really picking up that much, are you?
That's where it come from. Yeah.
You'll form a belief I'm not really good at this because you're not flowing with that kind of thing, yeah. And so to clear that, but the other point is we're in a world of amazing shifts and changes. What I showed on the retreat is how to use Canva, but that you don't have to be a Canva genius. You're just using it for a purpose, and then how to use AI with Canva.
Oh, really? I mean, now I've even gone on to use something called CapCut to help me edit my videos, which I never thought. I thought, oh, and then also doing a lot more on the social media. And but something I've learned that's really useful that I would encourage people to do as well is when you put something up, step back,
Mm.
walk away, allow it to grow organically, not to get too fixated in oh my gosh, no one's liked it or that because it's a journey. And that is because we can all do it. I did it at first, was like, oh, that's
Rejection, they reject.
rejection. Oh my, I've spent all this time.
Yeah, that silence is a trigger, of course, isn't it? And if you go into a situation and there's silence around you, a lot of people get triggered by that. And I think social media can set off that trigger. You put out a post, no one responds.
Oh, I
Oh.
must be doing something wrong. It's not the algorithm's fault. It's totally personal. But I do feel that on the retreat for me as well, around the social media, is that I learned that you're not going to create anything if you don't do anything. It's putting that action in.
Yeah.
So that was gave me the confidence to put the action in, to
Mm.
actually go, I have these ideas. Let's let's put it into practice. And I hadn't, I dabbled, but I do a little bit and then go
Yeah.
retreat back. Whereas now it's kind of like, I'm here and I'm me.
Yeah.
My stomach's me as well. It's having a little grumble there.
Yeah, but what you're looking at, and yeah, I better let you go very shortly. But I was just going to say, when we just dabble and do a little bit back, you will only become as successful as in a way as your blocks allow you to be. Yeah, it's about comfort zones, isn't it, really? And what we're looking at is clearing that to allow you to bring your vision, your ideas into fruition, and to then go with it. And the thing is, you will have now learned a lot of skills in that time period because I like to keep it simple. Yeah. I like to keep the learning curve simple and to keep the everything to a minimum. So, I don't want to be a Canva expert. I do know quite a bit about Canva, but I don't want to be an expert. So I'm not
Mm.
a Canva course. Yeah. But the simple fact is, I'm a therapist, I'm a trainer. Yeah, that's my area of interest. Yeah. So I only need to know the other stuff to the degree I need to know it to help me be successful on what I'm doing. Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
it's true. It's rather than actually, I'm not going to be a social media expert. It's not really what my passion is. But so if I can use something to make it easier, fantastic.
Yeah. Like I said, we're in a time, and I love a certain level of technology, but I don't want to become an expert in all these things. It's for a purpose. Yeah. I do it for a purpose. But then I think what I showed you on the retreat was how to do bulk creation.
Oh my, I literally could start to put in my ideas and then all of a sudden creating what I had in here, put it down. Then as soon as I started to do that, that helped with the confidence. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
I can do it.
yeah. I mean, I think we probably started a part of your course, didn't we? Creating it there,
Yeah.
get the structure because you need an overall structure, and then you can come in, refine with your expert knowledge, and that is very beautiful. Seeing, I mean, I saw the light bulb go on in your head when we did
It
that.
was literally, I was watching you and I'm going, really? I could. And when I left and went to my room after, it was straight on and I played around and I was like, okay, I can create something. This can support me. And then all of a sudden that dream that I had, it started to ignite. And then since then, even though there has been, because of course, whenever we go into, I like to call it our growth zone, when we start to grow, there are going to be those beliefs that want to come up because it's so used to being part of the show. So it's like, no, I'm going to carry on with this.
Mm. Well, the beauty of that is, yeah, these beliefs, because they're old programs that run, and often they're not really relevant now, but they were relevant at some point in our time, created for a reason. But the beauty is when you begin to do therapy, because you've begun to do therapy, they don't grip you as much, yeah, as in take over as much. So you're able to almost quite often step back and see it for what it is, yeah. And once you can see it for what it is, then you go, all right, you've surfaced.
It's that coming back. Okay, I know you. And a friend of mine said, Alison, look at it as though you're now in the driving seat and you can go into the back seat now. I'm in control. So
Yeah.
you're aware of it. You're not pushing it down so it can surface, but you're actually going, yeah, okay, I've got this. It feels so much more empowering.
You're in control. Yeah. And yeah, there's life is a journey. There's always more to do, as
Yeah.
clearing of old programs. However, I'm sure anyone listening to this will be fascinated as to where you are now, because you've made a huge leap forward, I would say, on the business. You put the time in because you can't just sit on your sofa and magically hate it. It'd be nice if you could. Although I do strongly believe in law of attraction, but you
Oh,
take action.
I know it would be nice. Oh, I'm just going to bring this in and you can create it for me. But actually, Tanya, it is the journey.
Yeah.
That's one of, I was always interested. I can understand now in the destiny. If I get that, that will be okay. If I get that, but normally what happens, you get that, and then you think, oh, is that it? So something else will present. So enjoying that part of it. But yeah, I think within 7 months. It was, as well as creating a lovely friendship group and support, it was created Tap and Connect website, rebranding, and I love my logo. I'm so happy. It's like if you look at it, it's got like a T, and then as it comes up, it's actually a body with a little dot above, which is the head. So it's quite symbolic of being grounded. So tapping, because I believe tapping is it's a passion, but the two connect. The connection is the body work and bringing that all together. But then I have two online resources, which are like courses that people can go in and just learn about the posture. So they're
Mm,
available. I'm working on another one called Unlocking the Lymphatic Flow. I've written a short, it's more like a PDF, just a complement for the feet. And I've started doing blogs. I've got 3 so far, so that I can share them across social media. Then I had this idea of why not create a platform?
mm.
Why not start? That you can have a collection of your resources that anybody can come in and actually go and go, okay, I'm interested in that for back pain. And they've got the collection of EFT, Reiki. So that is in its infancy. But you know what? I'm really proud. I've launched it. Launch, believe, and grow. And that I can see that this, I would not have done this last September. That's when I put it into, that's not even been a year. And that's, I've enabled to create. I also started an online tapping and tapping to connect group. So again, that's been running since January. I wouldn't have done an online support group because I've got to lead it. I've got to do. So now I'm thinking, instead of, oh, I can't do that, why not?
I love it. I love it.
Why not?
And it is why not, isn't it? It is why not, because the I can't are the blocks. Yeah. Why not? Yeah. And you've created something very, very, very beautiful there. And I know we had a brief discussion beforehand. There have been many things that have changed in your life, not only in how you the hours you do.
It's totally, I mean, I think to step back,
Mm,
when we want to make those changes, it's allowing ourselves that you're going to need to create time, or it will be beneficial for you to create time. So initially, the fear is if I let go of that, what is going to come in? But I took that leap of faith and let go, changed all of my hours, actually created time to create this, as well as going for a walk, walking my dog, cooking, being more present. And actually, I mean, I'm going to a symposium in Edinburgh this weekend. Now, I would never have done that because I can't do that. I'm only allowed to have two, maybe maximum of 2 weeks holiday a year. So the changes,
well, you're changing into the entrepreneur that you are. Yeah.
I like that. Entrepreneur.
There's different. I've always worked. Well, 1 year I worked for someone else in my life only. The rest of the time I've always worked for myself. There's a different mindset to be had. Yeah. And what you're now coming into is it's the entrepreneur. It's how to be running this bigger business. What you want. You want interactions, you want friendships, you want connection, you want all of that. And I think one of the other things I said on the retreat was raise your prices.
Yes, and I literally had, such a block around that of even to raise them. What it does, it establishes your self-worth.
Mm.
And I know as a therapist, I've always struggled with that because I always wanted to make my treatments accessible all
Mm.
to everybody. But what the platform, which is what is tapping into me, is at the moment there's like a one tier level, but I wanted to make it so that some of the resource is available to everyone at such a low
Oh,
financial, it's like a Sainsbury's meal deal that so I can still create information to support people without having to run myself into the ground.
yeah. Just say where that comes from. When I was in school a long time ago, one of the things I did commerce and economics, This is quite young school, it's not college or whatever. One of the things they did teach us was supply and demand. And it's always stuck in my head, supply and demand. So you are full. So then, logically speaking, what you do is you create more time by increasing your prices and doing less hours.
I know. And it's like yeah, it's you understand when you're in that, the fear of doing something like that
Yeah.
is, but again, it's enabled me to actually give that time to
Yeah.
create something that fundamentally goes with my purpose, which is to support the one. I've always said that if you support one person, if someone benefits, but if I support people, but I don't support myself,
No.
it's when I start to, yeah. And now I've got that gauge. So I know I'm not going to get it right all the time because life's a journey. And actually, what is right and what's wrong, and there may be changes along the way, but to actually have made that step to create something that I wanted to,
Mm.
I just feel it's so different. And for me, that's why I'm very passionate about, if more people could support themselves, and this retreat was an amazing way of doing that.
Yeah. And thank you for that. And I would also say this is you've launched. Yeah. And you know what we're looking at? Some people try and have everything perfect before launch. Yeah. But really, you learn as you go. Yeah.
And that's what's now I kind of go, okay, that's not edited particularly right, but I'm going to just post it
Yeah.
because what if I believe that actually what I want people to do is to don't wait for it to be perfect, just do it because you're enough. Just you'll learn, you might meet connections. Like I'm going to a networking meeting on Wednesday. I'll be learning something new. Someone might say, have you tried this or have you tried that? And as you grow, there'll be, which I'm putting it out there, there'll be people to come and then support you alongside your journey.
Mm. Yeah. The right people will be, it's like a magnet, isn't it? The right people come. So I could go on forever here. There is so much that I could chat about because you brought up so many fascinating things. However, how will people find you, Alison? Because just to put into perspective, she has created the most beautiful site. And you see the heart that go. When I was reading it, I could just feel the heart that was behind that. So it's very personable. It's got that aspect, but it's also some very powerful things you're sharing on that from your own experience across all these different models, modalities, and the beautiful blending of, So, how can they kind of find out more about your work, Alison, and your website? Mhm.
Yeah, there's tappingtoconnect.co.uk. You can go onto there and it's linked to my socials as well as linking to my platform as well. So it's kind of like the go-to. I do have the TikTok. I know, down with the kids, as my daughter says, TikTok, Instagram, and a YouTube channel as well, which actually I launched a long time ago, but I never utilized because
Yeah,
I felt small. So, but yeah, I would say the tappingtoconnect.co.uk is
the
is
best.
a good start, and then you can contact me directly from there.
And thank you very much, Alison, for taking time out today to be with me and discuss these things or share your experience, you know. Thank you very much. Mhm.
Pleasure. And yeah, I just want to say that if you are thinking about if there's part of you that's calling you to support your own self-discovery, you are worth investing in. I'm so glad I did, so thank you.
Thank you. I won't finish it there because I'll edit it. Thank you. You know, you do come across very beautifully on camera. You feel your heart, you
Oh,
know.
really? Oh,
Gen
I just love it. Well, you see, it's because it's a reflection.
oh,
I
well,
feel
thank you.
very comfortable. You're very good. You just feel natural. Just kind
No, I never try to be perfect. I just be myself. Yeah.
of,
And you know, I have a lot of experience doing the business and just you can't be anything other than your true self if you want to have longevity.
yeah, I think that's it. It's like again, this is it. This is who I am. This is what I'm, yeah. But I do feel very comfortable. And it's like I always remember to speak to the one as well. So it was lovely. No, I really enjoyed it.